Hey everyone, this is the Marketing Perspective podcast where we get the latest marketers and the latest experts in here and we just have a simple conversation. Today we're going to talk about Amazon and the future of retail. And we have Michael in here. We met at Prosper Show and he's going to tell us a little bit about him, and also then we'll go into the conversation about Amazon and the future of retail.
I am here, and thanks for having me. I was just telling Victor that after being in Prosper for a couple of days out in Vegas, it's not really my thing, but I was up so late multiple nights in a row that I'm just like, I was I was consulting with someone in person today who's a newer entrepreneur, very passionate about entrepreneurship and helping people to grow in that. I've been an entrepreneur for the past 12 years, and it's difficult, man.
Yeah.
It's not easy to make something work. So I was like falling asleep talking to him, and I'm like, I'm really sorry. And he was like, no, man, I hope I wasn't rambling. So I'm like, okay, well, at least we're both on the same page that we're both a little concerned for each other. But yeah, no, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. And yeah, it was great to meet you in person. It was great to see your face and shake your hand and that kind of stuff. I think that kind of social capital goes a long way.
Yeah, I just love the in-person stuff. It's a lot of fun, and yeah, like just kind of going off like with it. Tell us a little bit about like what cartology does, and yeah, like give a little intro there as well.
So thank you for that.
Hmm.
Cartology is the agency that I run, and we are a very heavily service focused agency that's working specifically with brands to get them to grow and become profitable on the Amazon marketplace.
Yep.
We're really honing in on. I mean, we don't, honestly, I feel like if you know Amazon well, you can be product agnostic if you know how to speak Amazon's language.
Yep.
But there are certain companies we end up tending to work with. Like we have several personal care and beauty brands that we're working with right now, and those are going really well. Some of them are smaller, some of them are bigger. We have lots of lifestyle brands. I mean, just the thing is, brand is huge for us. So if
Yep.
you don't have a brand, or we've taken on clients whose brands aren't as strong, we've had to, just in the past year, really up our creative capabilities, because I believe that when you're on the product detail page, and especially if 70% of people are mobile shoppers, they're seeing the media asset section. If you're not winning them there, they're hitting the back button. Review, if your
Yep.
reviews are on point, they see the keywords that they searched, or at least someone in the title, and you've got price. Even if it's an expensive item, like we have clients who have items that are $275 and they sell well, but it's because they're crushing it in the media asset section, and they've either provided us with great media and we've optimized it, or we've helped create it for them with partners. And
Hmm.
um, the brand story is so important, so we make sure that we tell that. And that's just something that I'm passionate about, because I built brands. Some flopped, some worked. I feel like Cartology it has a very strong brand, but we're trying to grow that. I have a very strong personal brand, and that's recognizable, as I saw at Prosper. But I want my agency to continue to grow and have its own, Cartology be its own brand. So that's just a passion and focus for us.
Yeah, that's great, and that was great context there. So, like going off of that, yes, first of all, brand is critical to really build that. And I really see the future of Amazon advertising going to the more creative aspect of things. Like rather like think about all the different formats we have now. We have sponsored brand, custom images on
Yeah.
sponsored brand video, and like custom image on sponsored brand video, sponsored display, all these other creatives, and they're making this big creative push that has been performing really well. And I really see that as the future of Amazon advertising, is this more creative direction. And you have to get some like infographics and video assets. If you do not have that as a minimum, if it's 2022, guys, if you don't have videos on your product listing, like
Yeah.
you are way
You
behind. So
you've
please
messed
get
up.
videos.
Either
Yeah.
stop or start.
Yeah.
getting video right away. You know,
Immediately.
I tell prospects on a phone. I tell prospects. I call them up with my other microphone. I say, "Hello, I told you, man, I'm struggling to stay coherent, but I'm gonna do my best for you because I've shook your hand now, so I have to be the real deal." But um, I talk to prospects and I say, you know, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, I would have said video would be great, but we can roll without it. And now video is not an option, and that means it's not an option to not have a video.
Yep.
So that means if they don't have those assets, what we're initially putting together is a video of stills that's like an infographic video, and then we're working on shooting content to get something out there that's more engaging. And what's so crazy about Amazon is it's still a product focused marketplace. If you look at their letter to shareholders, I don't know how many people really read or dug into that, but I've had to do for our brand deck and for our website and for branding and just talking points on Amazon when I'm talking to people about what to pay attention to, what's important. And, you know, 28% of people are making a purchase decision in 3 minutes or less.
Yep.
And 50% are making a purchase decision in 15 minutes or less. That's a super quick time period. And I'm almost positive that the actual sales cycle is longer, but when they're going on and they're looking for something, they're buying quickly. And so you have to showcase your product really, really quickly and really fast so that they understand the functionality and why the differentiators of why, you know, not just parity of like, okay, you're another product in this category, we get it, but really, really showcasing this is why our product is different. You have to do that quickly. And if you're not doing it quickly, you're not winning them over, but you also have to include some element of brand in there so that they're saying, oh yeah, like Victor's beeswax. I'm just making something up. Like, let's say you've got a chapstick called Victor's beeswax. Like, you need to make sure that that brand's everywhere, but that you're telling the product, you know, features, and then people are coming back so they can search, oh, Victor's beeswax. I love that stuff. I wonder if they have an ear cream or a mustache cream or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what product line I'm building here, but it sounds awesome.
Hey, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. But
if you come out with a mustache cream, I will buy it, by the way.
Okay.
People say I have a beard, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Victor here, Victor's got a beard. This is just what puberty gave me. I can't grow anything here in my cheeks, so whatever.
Yeah, like I have a ginger beard, so different parts are blonde and other parts are ginger, so it's really hard. So I have to like do some crazy stuff to make it look like this.
Oh wow, I'm now I just want to focus the whole webinar on that.
We can start focusing on beard creams and
beard dyes and
dyes, yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah. So with all that, when it comes to just Amazon and everything like on platform and with the future of creatives and things like that, it's important to really say to like, rather than being an Amazon seller, really being a brand, like having that brand presence, really having those creative assets in place to make you different than everyone else. Because if you don't have brand, you're just like everyone else, and then it comes just down to price. So, and you like when it comes to Chinese sellers, you can't compete with them. So
I know that because I had a product-based business back in 2016. I started selling on the marketplace in 2010. And when Amazon opened up the marketplace to China, Chinese sellers ran me out, and basically my business crashed because they were selling at warehouse prices. And it was a very difficult season for me, but it was a great opportunity for God to show me like, hey, you could actually be really good in the service side. Why don't you try that? And I love that so much more. It was a difficult year, but you know, you're right. I've seen that happen. And so when we're talking about a race in price to the bottom, it's not. Yeah, we don't want it to be about that. And so when we have conversations about launching on Amazon, because you know, Amazon's gotten even more. They've just they've restated their rules about product and ranking manipulation because there's been so much uh, review manipulation, and
Yep.
so they're hacking down on that, and good for them, because I think it makes it more difficult for all of us that are trying to, like all the brands we represent, that we're saying we're going to do things the right way, we're going to do it according to terms of service, because um, it's not worth jeopardizing your account. But you know, there is a period where you basically have to provide an incentive for people to purchase a product that has 0 reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you've got an email marketing list, and from your website, you can say, hey, our product's now live on Amazon, we would love for you to go purchase and leave your honest feedback. You can ask for feedback, you just can't incentivize people for it. So
Mm-hmm.
uh, you have to give people a reason. You have to lower the risk, and so when you have a decreased price, people become more willing to purchase. I'm interested to know what that would actually do for expectations of someone with the product. And so if you've got really like a $250 product and you're offering it for $150, hopefully it blows them out of the water, and they really, do. They provide their honest feedback. Their honest feedback is really, really good. I mean, that's what I would hope. And then you're able to push with advertising. But I know some brands are worried about decreasing price and how that can cause their brand to maybe lose a little bit of trust or equity from people, because like why do people talk about Gucci? Why do people say it's Gucci? It's become part of the culture because it's a status symbol.
Mm-hmm.
If you have Gucci, then you make money. You are important. You are popular. And if for all the real fashion snobs like Givenchy, if you have a Givenchy backpack, then you've made it. You've made some real money. All the R&B and hip hop artists are talking about red bottoms. Do you know what red bottoms are, Victor?
No, I do not.
Well, they are shoes that have red bottoms, red heels. I don't know what that means. I don't know what the brand is, but apparently it means they're very expensive.
Okay.
And so, but again, it's about like, I talked to people. I was talking to someone this morning. The gentleman that I was helping, he has a business where he is making custom furniture for people.
Wow.
And he's earlier on in his career as an entrepreneur. I mean, he's been at it for the past 4 years, but still really doing his business full time for the past year or so. And one of the examples I use all the time is just the Nike swoosh. I just like write that out. I'm like, what is that? It's like, what's Nike? It doesn't say Nike. Well, what's their slogan? Just do it. How do you know that? Well, because it's Nike. And the reason people can do that is because of not just a logo, but because of brand and brand consistency.
Yep.
If you're using the same fonts, if you're using the same colors, if you're using the same logos, if you're using them the same way, and people start to associate that with your brand, you can start to remove the additional things, and then people know your brand, what your brand is, and it's shoes, it's clothing, it's sports, it's all this stuff. It's about grit and determination, no pain, no gain, and that's what brand is. It makes people feel something. And so if you have a Gucci purse or a Gucci jacket, you feel badass, because I don't know if we can say that on this, but I just
no. I'm all about cuss. Or like, I don't cuss, but you can cuss as much as you want.
I like that you said I'm all about cussing. Well, I don't, but you can if you want to. Can I sing that one Blink 182 song? Do you know the song I'm talking about? Or it's just a bunch of curse words.
Yeah.
Okay, I won't do that. I won't. I'll spare the audience.
You're probably an amazing singer, so I don't want to hurt your voice.
Oh, okay. I appreciate. Yeah. And I haven't had time to warm up either because of being in Vegas for a couple of days. So I don't want to ruin anything. But yeah, I mean, it's brand is what makes people feel a certain way, and it just it's almost something that's hard to describe. But yeah, go ahead. You have something you want to say.
And that's why we really help focus like on the TikTok influencer side and TikTok like advertising side and like the social media side of things, because it's all about that brand building, because you want to build up that perception of that brand and gain sales that way and create your own demand, especially for those convenience-based products. If you have those if it's very hard to sell a product, one of those products that require education. So the ones that like
Yeah.
people don't really know what it does or what's out there, and everything else like that, that's difficult. So it's really difficult to basically go after
Tell me
that.
more about the TikTok influencer thing, because
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest right now. I have made some attempts.
Hmm.
That's not true. I've gotten on TikTok and had someone say, like, you could show people tips on what you're doing with Amazon and how
Yeah.
you're working with it and things of that nature. And I know that, you know, what Amazon, like hashtag what Amazon made me buy, or you can correct me, but
Hmm.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
There's a hashtag like, is it what Amazon made me buy?
Like almost similar. So basically, what we do, the way it works is a client will say, "Hey, Victor, I want to get on in front of I want to advertise on TikTok because user generated content works really well. You can
Mhm.
make a $10,000 video, but user generated content will always outperform that."
And it's
So
because of the authenticity factor. That's
true.
what's real. So if someone meets you in person and they're like, this person's different than they seem online. You
Yeah.
were exactly the same. So
Yeah.
you were very authentic, even in just a little time that we spent. And so
Hmm.
yeah, that authenticity factor like, I am even doing the content I'm putting on LinkedIn is even a little bit less produced. Like the words are the same, but I'm shooting a video right away. I used to be putting more thumbnails on things up front, so you'd have something to look at. And so I'll still do that, and I'll still compose images together. But the more real the content is, the more people engage with it, and that's kind of why TikTok has worked, is what you're saying, right?
Yeah. And we basically do TikTok influencers to brands, for brands. So that way, and we guide that to Amazon essentially. So basically, we'll reach out to the influencers and say, hey, here's a free product. Like for that, create content for us. And they'll shoot the content with it and create content for the influencer. And we'll take that influencer content, that user generated content, and put that on Facebook, put that on Instagram, and put that on TikTok ads. And TikTok is 1/10 of the cost of Facebook right now, making it really cheap.
And
And
Facebook isn't very effective from what I hear from my
true,
brands
after
that
the
we're
iOS
working with.
14 update.
Yeah.
And that's why we really been pushing this user generated content and pushing that up. And we send that traffic to Amazon. And we to increase rankings, increase the external traffic. Because as you know, Amazon prioritizes and pushes up rank from external traffic.
Yes,
So
it is
that's why
something
we've
they
been
like.
pushing that a lot more. And we send that traffic to Amazon to gain all those sales there. Because you're only one viral TikTok from making a lot of money, and that's why we help scale that out for brands, is what we've been focusing on for a while now.
So I'm going to shout out a girl named Erica Rankin, who has a brand called Brodo, and it's cookie dough in a jar. And she is a food CPG company that's come out of Canada, which is interesting. I think it's Toronto or
Hmm.
Ontario. Um, it's a Canadian city where there's a lot of CPG, especially food brands, that have come out of it, like the low sugar candy company Smart Sweets. They came from here, and so there's I think that's helped create a culture of other brands that are coming from
Yeah.
um, this area and are in food and in CPG. But Erica Rankin has really capitalized um, on TikTok. She's put up like, "Hey, I had to fill a bunch of orders today," because she was in that startup, to now finally having someone producing her product in like a commercial kitchen,
Yeah.
um, and packaging it there and shipping it off there. And so she's gone from, a very similar story that we've heard,
Hmm.
going from kitchen to now going to full production. And another good brand that I'd recommend is Chipmunk Baking. The owner, David Downing, I had him on my podcast, A Longer Game.
Hmm.
They make great low sugar, low carb products that actually taste good, and I've been a big supporter of his. Um, Ever since I actually prospected them on LinkedIn, they put them on my list. I'm like, this is a brand I want to work with. So
Yeah.
still trying to work with you, David, and I'm shouting you out um, on this live webinar right now. So hopefully that says something. But Erica Rankin has really used TikTok to raise the influence of what she's doing with her brand, and kind of molded her personal brand with her product. But they think that's really helped her to grow. And I think it helps that she's young. She's a very beautiful woman. And so, of course, you know, a beautiful woman's going to sell product more than I am, just because
Amen.
I mean, I understand it, but I don't know how to explain it. And
Yeah.
so,
It's
yeah, I mean,
actually funny when I get an attractive woman on the podcast. My views, my live viewers go up at least double. So
I'm sorry,
like,
I'm not a beautiful woman.
yeah. When I was like, I always say, if I was beautiful, if I was a beautiful woman, I would kill it on LinkedIn. I would get so many views.
Well, and
But
the thing
I
is,
mean, that's just how
it's
it is.
not to
That's just how it
say
is.
it's not to say that those women don't have, you know, something great in their own right, because they're like Elizabeth Green is in the Amazon space,
I
and
just got off. I just got off a webinar. That was the webinar before this. Not even
okay.
joking. Yeah.
She's a beautiful woman,
Yep.
and I'm close with her, and we've talked about how when she posts a selfie, like sometimes she gets more visibility from people because of that. And if I had something in my back pocket, like I talk a lot about, you know, people that worked at Amazon use X Amazon. It's just like that. It's like X Facebook, X Google. It doesn't mean you know, like if you're ex Amazon, it doesn't mean that you know how to build a brand on Amazon. You could have been working in you know, Kindle or something like that. Doesn't
Yeah.
mean that you know how to do that, but it
It's
gives you
status.
some credibility and some status. Again, it's a brand thing. And so
Mhm.
you know, there are plenty of I think Erica Rankin is I would say a smart and beautiful woman, because she's been able to leverage her brand on TikTok. I'm just saying it doesn't hurt. It
Yeah.
doesn't hurt, is what I mean. So hopefully, women out there who are beautiful, you realize of what I'm saying. And I think that can actually. So I would consider my wife to be a very beautiful woman. I think other people would agree. I'm not going to show her picture on here, because that would be like exploiting her, I guess. And I didn't get her to sign it or release anything
Oh,
before the show. But she's a very beautiful woman. She's also very smart. But I think that can actually be used against her at times too, is because, oh well, it's just some, you know, beautiful face. It's like, well, why can't someone be beautiful and smart? Those two things aren't mutually exclusive of each other. So honestly, I think the more beautiful people that open their mouths and are smart people, then the better off for beautiful people and mankind.
yeah.
But I think I saw Stephen Pope from my Amazon guy post this earlier today. He's like, what are 3 things that convert really well? Puppies, babies, and beautiful women.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
and he's right. So like, it's like, oh, everyone loves a good puppy video. Yeah, people love puppy videos. If you can find a way to leverage puppy videos to sell your designer handbag brand or your microphone brand or your cell phone case, like, do it. And
Yeah.
I would actually like to see. I'd like to see if attractive men could pull off selling products. Maybe we could do a test. With one of the brands I work with, we could, Victor, you can draw up some influencers that are attractive men, and we'll see how well they help push product
Yeah,
on
we'll just find these these hunk of men,
Amazon.
like with all these, and we'll just like do an A/B test between men.
Oh yeah, see, we can prove it.
Yeah, it's funny. But yeah, like it really comes down to like getting the attention of your viewers, and like just naturally the human brain is going to be like the human brain is going to stop and look at attractive people. Like
Yeah.
we want that dopamine rush
Yeah.
when we look at attractive people. That's just the nature of the game. Which is why they're always in Super Bowl commercials and everything else. So that's why you see on TikTok like all the attractive dancers and everything else. It's just how it is.
Oh, the dancers. Yeah. You know what's funny is I'm not a I don't get on TikTok, and I've made one TikTok. It was during the pandemic when TikTok was starting to take off, and
Mhm.
our neighbors and I were eating dinner from each other across the street, because it was like very early, and we didn't know, like, we're not supposed to touch each other. Like my wife would like roll the other wife like a sparkling seltzer or a beer or something. We like wouldn't touch. Like, it's just crazy, because we had no clue what was going on, and now like we're in Prosper. There's,
Yeah.
thousands of people
Handshaking,
there,
hugging,
handshaking,
whatever.
hugging, whatever,
Yeah.
but still wearing masks, on a plane. And
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
it was funny because we just didn't know what the externalities would be of us, getting really close. But we made a TikTok video eventually, and it was pretty funny. And it was just like my daughter was dancing, and then my neighbor's wife, and then me, and then he was judging us all with like scorecards, and it was like, oh, Michael, he's a 3.5. Daphne, she's a good dancer, she's a 7, and his wife was like a 9, and he was like, thumbs up, like I like her the best. That was the whole goal. It took me an hour and a half to edit that freaking 15-second video. And it was set to bubble butt, bubble 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 butt.
Nice,
it might be inappropriate, I don't really know, but sometimes it's hard for me to draw a line. But I have not really gotten on TikTok because I haven't figured out a good use case scenario for it, which is why I stick to LinkedIn. But I started telling more personal stuff on Instagram at Michael Joseph Maher. I talk about being an entrepreneur and Amazon on LinkedIn, and talk about how faith is really important to me. But I can tell even more personal stories like, hey, I'm into being fit, but it doesn't just happen. You have to like prep for it. Or I've lost 40 pounds in the past year.
Are you serious?
Yeah, and dropped a lot of body fat. Thanks, man. But very, very intentionally just tracking what I was eating. And shout out to my friend Craig Heisel, who helped me to track my nutrition and get there, and also program the right workout so I could start seeing my abs again. But
that's amazing.
I don't even know. Oh, I can tell that story on Instagram. I put up a bunch of pictures of like donuts and all this stuff, and I'm like, these are all like my favorite foods, but I don't eat them. Some of them I've taken totally out of my diet because they're triggers for me. And if I eat one, I'm like, I want to eat 6.
Oh,
so like regular cereal, I don't eat regular cereal because I love it. I will eat a whole box of Frosted Flakes and justify it to myself. Well, I haven't had Frosted Flakes in a while, and you know what? It's like dinner's like 2 hours away, so I probably should have like 6 bowls.
Mm-hmm. I intermittent fast, so okay. I'm big on that as well. So I feel like everyone always went through a fat phase. Like anyone that's fit, because they got big and they said, "Oh, I don't want to go through this," and they go through a scare, and then after that, they really just change. They really started to really prioritize their fitness. I feel like everyone went through that at some point that is really fit right now.
So I think that's a good. I'd be interested to know how many people have experienced that. And yeah, I mean, it was, I've been a flexor all my life. So I used to be a vegan, and I was like 140 pounds, and I was like super ripped and had abs and was like doing CrossFit. And then I started eating meat again, and I started eating regular ice cream. And I told myself that soy ice cream tasted just as good as Ben and Jerry's. And then I had, Ben and Jerry's again or whatever. And I was like, oh my gosh, I was an idiot. This is way better. I need to make up for lost time. And so it was when my wife was pregnant with my daughter, and she put on weight, and I put on weight. I put on muscle and fat. I put on some muscle, but I also definitely put on some fat. So it took me a while to get that off, and just building the agency was stressful. And so that was something that helped. But
yeah, for sure. And luckily I have a TikTok team that they say, Victor, record random videos of you doing stuff like sitting, standing, working.
Yeah. Okay.
They just put it all together. Like at Prosper Show, I was nonstop recording myself just walking and talking to people.
And I was hitting myself because I'm like, I should probably be recording more content, but I'm like, I'll put some I took some pictures and I'll put some posts up. But yeah, that I think that's what I'm using Instagram for now, is to be even a little bit more personal, because that's what I was actually using LinkedIn stories for. But then they took them away. So that gives me an opportunity, because I'm also a musician. So
really?
I posted some stuff about some music that maybe I've written or recorded, and that's on Instagram. But it allows me to dig a little bit more personal and talk more personal stories, I guess you could say.
Yeah. So diving into Amazon.
Whoa, what is Amazon?
We've moved very, very far from
It's my
Amazon.
fault. I'm very tangential.
No, hey, no, it was an interesting conversation. So I was just going back to the Amazon side of things. Is there anything that you see where the future of retail and the future of Amazon is going? And everything else there? Is there anything else you're seeing there?
I'm really seeing much larger brands pay attention to Amazon. Brands that have traditionally been in your big retailers like Target, Walmart.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the Kimberly-Clarks, the Johnson & Johnsons, the P&Gs
Yeah.
of the world. They're starting to pay attention to Amazon, and it's because, and many, I would say many new service providers to Amazon don't know what Amazon is. Let me explain that.
Okay.
So Amazon is a product, very product focused marketplace, but we're talking about how brand is big and how brand stories is going to be big. And so for the longest time, when I was selling on Amazon, it was about product. It was about product. And that's where a lot of private label brands have been able to go and be really successful, is find products that work really well.
Yeah.
And these big brands, of course, need to sell product. But when you look at what you could earn on 1P or 3P on the vendor side or the seller central side, even if you're making an extra 50 million, which would be very rare, but even if a company you're making 50 million extra, how much is that impacting a company like Johnson & Johnson that's dealing in the billions of sales?
Yeah.
It's not making that big of an impact on their, so it's just a channel. It's just a channel to them. It's another channel to sell. It's a marketplace. And so some of the newer people that are coming in are saying, oh yeah, we need to sell more products. And honestly, a lot of aggregators have done this to themselves. I'm pro aggregator in that if you want me to help you to grow your brands, I'll do it if you pay me to do it. So like, call me up, send me an email. I'll help you do it. I met with some at Prosper.
Yeah.
But one of the areas where I know that aggregators have made a misstep is they bought a lot of product focused companies, but there's no cohesive brand. They have a cohesive brand as an aggregator and what they do, but there's no brand to keep those products 100%. Around. And so it's like, okay, wow, we've got a great business that's doing 3 million and we were able to sell it for multiple millions of dollars, give this person a payoff. But now we're running the supply chain issues like everyone else, and there's more competition. Well, why aren't people buying your product? Well, it's a good product, but it has parity. Every single other product is offering the same thing, maybe now at a cheaper price point. Maybe China's caught on and they're, the brand might be called Ingbuda. I know you know what I'm talking about. You see the brands, and it's not like
it's random type
keyboard.
You go on a keyboard and you just go, Dah!
Yeah, it's baby keyboard, but it's all capital letters. I don't understand that. Maybe just so it stands out. So you buy from King Buddha and it's a great price, but you're not going back and searching King Buddha because it doesn't make any sense and it's not an American cultural thing that people get.
And there's a huge difference between being a seller and a brand. Like brand is where you get to the millions. And rather than being just a seller on Amazon, it's so important to actually be a brand because that is what's going to make you different. That's what's going to make you stand out rather than all the competition.
There are sellers that get there. There are a lot of sellers, I think, before brands have gotten into the millions, into the tens of millions, and they've been successful in that way. But what's going to what's going to hurt them and what is going to help these other brands that are coming along and noticing Amazon, they're going to have to keep picking out new products. And these other brands are going to say, hey, our product, we might have a 2.0, but we have a product differentiation and our brand because we're consistent in that. So to finish my thought, the things that I'm really seeing change are big brands are starting to pay attention to Amazon, and the newer service providers to Amazon are focusing on product instead of focusing on brand,
Yep.
because you're newer to the space and it's like, okay, we got to sell product, we got to sell product, we got to sell product.
Yeah.
But now the reason why the big CPG companies are paying attention to Amazon is because Amazon is not just a marketplace. If anything, it is a product search engine that that validates brand value and delivers things. Is a trusted distribution network.
Yep.
So that's what Amazon is. It's not a marketplace. It's a trusted distribution network that validates brands and and is a product search engine for people that has high purchase intent. So we know people are are buying on there,
Yeah.
but it's so much more than that. And so that's why these big brands are paying attention, because 54% of people are going to Amazon just to look up a product. So if you're in a Target and you're like, oh, what's this new deodorant brand? Are they any good? I'm looking at my phone on Amazon.
Yep.
I may end up buying them on Amazon because the price is better too. It
True.
depends. But I'm looking up reviews because Amazon's people trust Amazon more than people's own sites, of course, because you might have the capability to only show 5-star reviews. Why would you show 4 stars, 3 stars? I don't know. I don't know what that side of things looks like from a Shopify perspective, because it's a totally different skill set. And so I won't claim to to know that, but the brands are now getting on and starting to win because they're realizing this is a brand play, and
True.
we have to have our brand here because we have to be brand focused. So yeah, that's the
and we're gonna really start to see these other companies start to fizzle out that are just sellers. So if you are a seller right now and you're not focused and you're like saying like, oh yeah, like where you're just focusing on Amazon and that's 80, 50, more than 50% of your sales, you're really gonna start to see the effects of that start to dwindle as Amazon starts to get more competitive and where you're not building out that brand. So
and yeah,
that's huge.
that's huge. Sorry to cut you off, but
Yeah.
people aren't building out brand, and you're having to mold a product to, as a brand, you're having to mold a product to make it work on Amazon. You're not molding your product line based on what's demand on Amazon. You're now having to create demand. And to your point earlier, you talked about education. You have to educate people why your product, why is your product brand different? And there are brands that have started out on Amazon and done really well and are success stories for Amazon and doing branding well. High Key is a great example of a company.
Oh, I use High Key.
Yeah, I've got some High Key stuff in my pantry as well. But it's an example of a great brand who leveraged Amazon early on and kind of validated some of their product concepts, but got a lot of trusted reviews and have been able to move multi-channel. Yep. And now they're in Target. Now they're in Walmart. So they've done the reverse of what the traditional CPG brand has done. But but they did it right. They did it brand, and that's something that So the future of retail here is omni-channel. That's what I believe. It's omni-channel, and that's what my podcast, The Longer Game, talks about. Is the future of retail reimagined. I see, majority of retail still being purchased in stores, but I see retail being more about experience moving forward. It's going to be about, oh, I like this outfit, I'm going to try this on, and okay, cool, don't worry, we'll ship it to you later today, or we'll get it to you, tomorrow, so you can have it. Yeah. But they're leveraging a logistics network that maybe is, 100 miles away, and they've got last mile delivery covered, like what Amazon's doing essentially. Yeah. And so it's still most of the stuff is being bought in store. There was a small earthquake here, so my microphone moved around. But there's most of the products are still being purchased in store. E-commerce is growing, but and Amazon is a large percentage of that. But you can't take King Badao or Sao Nuti or whatever the brand is, or even just best hand massager, uh, gets out sore knots and back knots and stuff. Like, I'm reading a title. That's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
I'm reading Amazon title.
Yeah.
But that brand, that's not a brand. That product can't get into Target. That product can't get into other stores that are bringing in brands. And so that's where it's going to stop short. Is if you really want to grow your brand, you have to be omni-channel. You have to have your own Shopify store. Amazon is a channel that you should run in, but maybe you should try Walmart.com. Maybe you should try Newegg. There are something that I've learned from the team at Channel Engine. I don't know if you got a chance to meet those guys. Incredible guys. Shout out to Yordi and Niels and Anthony, and then one other guy whose name I forgot. But I had dinner with. He was a nice guy. I just don't remember his name. I'm sorry, man. But they have a software, and they started in Europe, but they have a software that it is a catalog feed. It also has a repricer. It also has order management. It also has listing management. But they're pushing out to. They started in Europe, did all the difficult stuff first, because every country, Amazon is the local hero for marketplaces. But there are a lot of other marketplaces out there, and in Europe there are a ton, and each country has their own hero marketplace. Like in the Netherlands, which is where Channel Engine is based, they have bol.com, bol.com.
Really?
That's the predominant channel. People aren't going to Amazon first; they're going to bol.com, and so Amazon's trying to push hard. I was talking with one of the guys at Channel Engine, he was saying, sitting at their booth, one of the partners that we want to work with, because we want to be able to take our brands, and what Cartology is trying to do is really go deep with these brands. So we want to make them as successful as possible on Amazon, then make it easy to expand to Amazon internationally. Now we're expanding to Walmart.com domestically with our brands, but we're trying to go as deep as possible if we can with them from a marketplace perspective. We're not trying to be all things to all people, but marketplace, because the marketplace has a lot more crossover. And one of the guys from Channel Engine said, when I search a product on Google and an Amazon ad pops up, and so then I go to Amazon that way. So Amazon's driving a lot of traffic that way. That's part of how they got here in America Amazon to be the number one product search engine. Is they really put a lot of money and effort into Google, and I think there was into search, and or SEM really. There was a company who, not a company. Amazon is the company. Amazon, I think, stopped purchasing Google ads for a very short period of time.
Yeah,
and it decreased Google's revenue by 1%. So when you have a $1 billion company, they could even be trillion. I really don't know, but when you are affecting $1 billion company by 1%, that's a big line item. And so that just goes to show you how important it is. But if you want to be around longer, you want to get into Target, maybe your product doesn't get into Target, that's okay. But you also want people to follow you on social media, because you want them to go to your website so you can capture their email in a legit fashion, and then send email marketing them and send special campaigns, or say, hey, we got an exclusive item on Amazon. If you want to go check it out. Or, hey, we're having a site only thing to grow the brand. That's how brands are going to expand. Or hey, we're launching in Japan. Do you know anyone in Japan? We're launching on Rakuten. We're launching on Amazon Japan. But I use Channel Engine because I started talking about them because they're helping push people to other marketplaces, and you're going to get into other marketplaces and stay in those other marketplaces because you're a brand. If you just have a product, there may even be a better product that's over there regionally, and so you're kind of you could be screwing yourself, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, 100%. But unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. I bet we did it. I bet we could talk about beards. I bet we could talk about all the latest things, Amazon, TikTok influencer. We covered a lot of different things in this.
Yeah.
And like we can really take a whole other level. But please, Michael, tell them where they can find you, where the audience can find you and everything else. I'd love to hear that.
So find me on LinkedIn. It's linkedin.com/in/I'm Michael Maher. But you should see me. I just look like myself. I don't know what else to say. So you can find me on Instagram at Michael Joseph Maher. Please visit my agency's page, Cartology, thinkcartology.com. The people sometimes think that our brand name is thinkcartology.com, but it's actually when you need help with Amazon, Think Cartology. So we went with that. Cartology.com was already taken. Maybe we'll be able to get that because we've got a trademark on our product or whatever. But yeah, so
cost like $1 million.
It's something like someone's like holding on to it, and so there's a way I know to go about claiming like you have IP issues. But find me on there. You can email me directly, michael@thinkcartology.com. I'll answer that. I'm in a lot of I'm in some Telegram groups. I'm in Facebook groups, but I don't ever get on Facebook. I'm in some LinkedIn groups, but just come look me up on LinkedIn. Look at some of my content. If you think I'm BS, get in my DMs and tell me that. But I think that you'll see the content and it'll speak otherwise. And brands out there, if you want to grow and you want your Shopify store to be successful, and even your off Amazon, your offline presence to be successful, you have to pay attention to Amazon. And that's who I want to help. I sincerely want to help those brands to grow and be successful on Amazon.
Yeah, and that's great. And it's a very high in demand task to accomplish.
And I need to get in touch with you about talking about TikTok influencers and other things like that, because that's a valuable service. So I'm gonna get in your DMs about that.
Get in my DMs.
It sounds very offensive, but I'll get at you is what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, it wasn't offensive. It's just like, you know how you talk to people, say, let me get your DMs. Like, let me get in your DMs.
People are in my DMs asking me about all this stuff. Like, what's going on with that? That's weird. Yeah. But yeah.
That's funny. Cool. So yeah, that's all we have time for. Thank you for everyone for listening. Michael, thank you so much for coming on. It was great to have you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me. I hope we can do more of this, and maybe I'll have you on my podcast and we can talk about the social media TikTok influencer side of things.